All right, this is task 6.9. Here's a possible proof for Colton's triangle. What we're trying to prove is that AH bisects CAB. So here's AH, right? And CAB, this would be this angle right here, and we're trying to say that that angle and that angle are congruent. That means that AH is a angle bisector. So let me take those off. All right, so you're going to do this with triangles. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to say that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. And the reason that we can say that is because if two of the angles are congruent, then the third angle is congruent, and they also share a side, so angle, side, angle. We can also say that this long triangle here is going to be congruent to, let me see, whoops, actually I made that a little bit too big. Let's do this again. So here we go. So we can say that this triangle right here is going to be congruent to this triangle right here. Okay, and again, we can use the third angle of these must be congruent if the other two are. So we've got the idea that these angles here are congruent. All right, we can say angle, side, angle, because they share a side, to say that they're congruent. So from these congruent triangles, we've now established a couple things. We've established that these dotted lines are all congruent. Like this is a side of both triangles, and this is a side of both triangles. So that's that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So now this was this triangle 1 and 2, and then we can also say that this would be, say, triangle 3 and 4 are congruent, so their corresponding parts are congruent. So now we've got something we can use. And then the other thing that we can do, let me get rid of this, we don't really need this. We're going to try and show that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. And you can see we've got two corresponding sides that are congruent. We have a shared side that is congruent. And we also note that it is a altitude, so we have a 90-degree angle. And if you remember, for triangle congruence, one of the things, if you have a right triangle, is hypotenuse leg congruence. And we have that here. So because we have hypotenuse and leg, hypotenuse is shared, the legs are shown, we can say those two triangles are congruent. So one of the things here, we can say FAP is congruent to GAP. And we're going to say hypotenuse leg because these are right triangles. And then from that, what we're trying to prove is angle FAP is congruent to angle GAP. And that is corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. That's that one that you use all the time. And that is the proof. So now we've said that because these two triangles are congruent, we can now say that these two angles are congruent, and therefore it is an angle bisector, right? And that is